Caractacus was king of Britain during the time his country was conquered by the Roman Empire, led by the Emperor Claudius. This was not the first time Britain was invaded by the Romans. About 100 years earlier, Julius Caesar landed in 55 BC. He landed, he fought, he scratched around a bit, and decided it was total hogspit, and went back to Rome. The story of Caractacus starts with his older, grumpier, ruder, smellier, and generally more disgusting brother Bericus, who was proclaimed king of Britain.
And today we proclaim a holiday for Druid Oaknut for curing my infested earlobe, and when the Romans invade later, I intend to make friends.
Caractacus and his other brother, Togodamus, were completely sick of their dopey older brother.
Listen to him whinging and whining and carrying on. We've got to get rid of him.
Bericus figured out that his younger brothers were about to overthrow him.
The bloody cheek.
He stole the 13 magical objects that were the crown jewels of the day, and he fled Britain to Rome. There he met with Emperor Claudius and had a big whinge session with him.
You've got to help me. My nasty brothers kicked me off the throne, and I've got a sore left eye, and druid gumnut so that I couldn't eat any more haggis, and many other things, and
Emperor Claudius was lame, he had a stutter, but he wasn't stupid.
What a boring, nagging twit. Look, I can't make any promises, but you can become a citizen of Rome, so your brothers cannot harm you.
Okay.
Britain was then ruled jointly by Caractacus and Togodamus.
Hey, Togodamus, I've heard from some merchants that Bericus has been crawling up to that Emperor Claudius, trying to get him to invade Britain.
Why, that slimy piece of... I've heard that the Emperor Claudius is just a cowardly old codger that writes books. Well, I'll write him a letter. Dear Emperor Claudius, I've just heard some disturbing news that my brother Bericus has been hiding in Rome under your protection with 13 magical items that he has stolen. If this is true, all I can say is, hand him back over immediately, you clapdat old pancake, or I'll set your toga on fire and tie a weasel to your leg.
Emperor Claudius was not amused, and wrote a letter back to Togodamus.
Look here, you disrespectful barbarian. For being so rude, you do not deserve any of your demands to be met.
Togodamus wrote back.
Look here, you old lying pasta eater. If you don't send Bericus back with all 13 stolen magical objects, I'll take all the Roman-owned merchant ships hostage until Bericus is returned, and I'll tie weasels to all of their legs.
There was only one thing left.
War!
The Romans landed in Britain without any opposition, because the locals had heard it was too late in the year for the Romans to invade.
Is there anybody here?
Aulus was the commander of the first wave of Roman invaders.
This is so easy I could do it lying down.
The forces of Aulus advanced through Kent, but the British forces withdrew to Colchester. At Medway, Aulus confronted Caractacus and Togodamus with their army. The Romans had 35,000 men, while the Britons totaled 60,000.
Damn it, there has to be a way to even this up a bit.
This should be easier than skinning a ferret.
Aye.
At night, Roman soldiers need to cross the river to the British camp and let 2,000 of their chariot ponies loose.
Of all the lousy, rotten tricks.
Get the weasels ready.
Charge!
Take the testicles out! Mommy! Hey, have some of this, son!
Whoa, Nelly, go get 'em.
The Britons lost the battle Caractacus withdrew.
I'm bloody off out of here.
Caractacus's own nagging brother Bericus died fighting for the Romans.
Ow.
Togodamus was mortally wounded.
Don't worry, Togodamus. I'll avenge your death, and I'll tie weasels to every one of their legs.
Caractacus found himself to be the sole ruler of Britain. Caractacus then fortified a wooden ridge called Brentwood Hill into a stronghold and awaited the Romans. Emperor Claudius arrives in Britain with more Roman legions in AD 43. He brought with him war elephants and camels. No one in Britain had ever seen an elephant, never seen a camel, and these strange creatures terrified them. It scared the Britons so much that when Claudius was advancing his troops, he did not see a single inhabitant between Richborough and London.
Is there anybody here?
On arriving at the fort of King Caractacus, Claudius was unsure of a frontal attack, since it would mean heavy losses. Claudius hears a local myth about the Heron King, a large bird which terrifies them.
I think I have an idea.
Claudius dresses one of his soldiers as the Heron King, and sent him to wait in the marshes near the British outpost, to mentally disturb them.
Hey, Glibly, do you see what I see?
It's the Heron King. King Caractacus, King Caractacus. We definitely saw the Heron King running around in the marshes. It's a bad omen.
Fetch me a bucket. I'm going to puke.
Emperor Claudius also heard that horses go crazy when they smell camels, especially when they have never seen or smelt a camel before, like the British chariot ponies.
Position all the camels downwind.
No! What a dirty, rotten thing to do. Charge!
Take that, you brute! Okay!
Oh no, we're losing!
Caractacus withdrew again.
Bugger it.
The battle was lost. For 7 years, Caractacus led resistance forces against the Romans, until one day he went seeking a new ally.
Bugger it.
He fled north to Queen Catramandua and pleaded her to join him in his fight. But Catramandua wasn't stupid, and she arrested Caractacus instead.
Anything you say can and will be taken down and used in evidence against you.
Trousers.
Caractacus was taken to Rome in chains with his family.
And what do you have to say for yourself, King Caractacus? If the sword is all you're prepared to show us Britons, then be prepared to sleep with it by your side for the rest of your lives.
Claudius and the Senate were so impressed with King Caractacus that he was pardoned and allowed to live in Rome for the rest of his life.
Off you go.
There he lived the rest of his life as one of the best sandal makers in Rome.
You know, sometimes I think that if I'd only been captured, hung, drawn and quartered with my guts pulled out by a midget, they'd have made a big film about me.